absolutely crazy 24 hours it's been for the crypto markets as a whole. So much has happened. We had Bold, which went up 4 million% and then went straight to zero. There's ties to SBF and Alameda. We have Richard Heart, which has been taken to court by the SEC, filing against Hex, Pulse Chain and PulseX as securities. And then we have Curve, which is under attack and may be risking major liquidations, affecting the entire DeFi ecosystem as a whole. And then last but not least, we have leaked documents around 𝗥𝗲 and what that could mean for crypto. So stay tuned until the very end. We're going to be covering this and a whole lot more. So without further ado, let's get straight into the show. And since we do have a new month, I thought the best thing to do would be to look at what happens in the month of August, at least historically. And historically, it's usually approximately 30.42% up, as you can see over here. That is the average, but that average is being skewed by the 65% that we had in the year of 2017, which we know was a roaring bull market. So for the most part, it's pretty much stagnant. August is a stagnant month. We'll see if the opportunities are going to be better for this August. September is usually a red month. And then usually when you go into that final quarter of the year is where you see massive runs. So it's something that we do need to pay attention to and watch. And this is the look. This is the look that you have over here of Richard Heart. That look when you know it's the last time that you'll be using that private jet. So Pulse Chain, PulseX absolutely tanking over here. But the question is, will he fight this until the very end? That is the question. And are they going to be labeled as securities? He did do a lot to try and stop that, which is why he had the sacrifice phase, right? Sacrifice phase meaning that you're not benefiting from the profits of others and you have no expectations of profit. Essentially, you are donating your money into his projects. That is what he labeled that ICO phase is the sacrifice phase. So let's see what happens with that. But if you look at the price over here of Hex, down massively, 28% in just the last 24 hours. And that's what the chart looks like. It doesn't look good. I must be honest with you. I highly doubt that this chart ever recovers to all-time highs on Hex. Pulse Chain and PulseX are newer though, so they might have some sort of an opportunity to create all-time highs. Pulse Chain is down 41.4% over there. Brutal chart. But ultimately, because it's something new and shiny, you never know if it comes out positive. There is a possibility of all-time highs in this one. And then the same thing is true over here for PulseX, down exactly the same as 42%. Would I be buying the dip on this? Not so sure I'd be buying the dip on it. But if you did sacrifice at this point, is it worth selling? Probably not. May as well just hold through. Are you probably down 50% from your sacrifice investment, and you may as well just continue to hold, because if the markets do rally and you get into a mega hyped phase where all cryptocurrencies are going up, especially where all altcoins are outperforming Bitcoin, well, chances are that you'll probably see Pulse and PulseX pump into that, irrespective of what's going on around the SEC, because the same has been true, right, amongst many of the other altcoins which were labeled as securities in the past. Many of them did pump very hard as well. So I think that for the time being, if you are somebody that's holding those coins, just continue to hold. Okay, if we look at the stock market over here, breaking, the US stocks finished higher as the S&P 500 and NASDAQ climbed for the 5th straight month in July. So big monthly closes on the S&P 500. Unlike crypto, you can see they're closing at yearly highs. Big moves up, yearly highs, and we ever so closer to the new all-time high, 3.81% away. So far that's looking good. Pressure in the crypto market is being found, could be because of the DXY, the DXY, which has confirmed that deviation back into the range. So that is the play, right? Now what you need to do is you need to look at the top end of this range, or it's actually a mid-range. That would be the overall range high, mid-range, range low. But ultimately, this is your next major resistance. I'll be looking anywhere around this region. Could form a lower high, or it could push into the top side. But anywhere between 103.9 and 104.5 is where you're going to start to find resistance for the DXY. And until that DXY starts to come down, it could still continue to add additional pressure for the crypto market. So with the new monthly close, though, what do we see over here? What are we looking at? We do get new information confirmation anytime that the monthly closes, and we continue to see the moving averages converge into one another on the monthly time frame. We have the 7, the 20, and the 50. We want to see the 7 above the 20 with the 20 above the 50 and price holding above all of those. So it continues to remain a consolidation period within here, a transitionary market, right? You get a bear market, you get a kangaroo market, and then you get a bull market. Probably staying in a kangaroo market for a while, meaning a little bit of up and down, makes for great range trading. You do have also the MACD over here, which is the histogram is ticking up. We have the next consecutive histogram towards the upside, the moving average cross over there. So continuation upwards. And then you have the stochastic RSI, which is reaching into that bullish control zone. Contrary to popular belief, just because it comes into the yellow zone does not mean that suddenly it's all over. It actually means that it's just the beginning, and you can expect that this could trend within this area for quite some time, and that leads to those big runs, right? That leads to the big moves up. So we'll be keeping a close eye on that. Weekly chart has a lot of support despite the pullback. We could see a couple more weeks of pulling back over here, but ultimately we hit the 50% level. We yet to tag the 21 exponential moving average or the 200 moving average, which are both coming in between that $27,000 and $28,000 level. So don't be surprised if you see price pulling into the low $27,000 region. I think that is a bounce area and an area where I'd be looking for potential buys. Okay, daily chart over here we looked at yesterday. You can see the level of confidence that's coming in over here with the diagonal, right? The diagonal also coming in with additional support below that, and that is going to be over here at the 200-day moving average as well as the 200-day exponential moving average. And then if you look where that meets up, let's go price label wise. If that meets up with the bottom of here, where's it? 27,600. So in line with what we're seeing on the weekly chart, all of that region is a support level. If you start to lose 27K, well, big trouble. Then the picture starts to change. Only become really bearish if we start to go under that $27,000 level. What about altcoins? I see a lot of fear around altcoins, market meltdown kind of tweets that are coming into play again for the altcoins. Altcoins won't fare up against Bitcoin for quite some time. Remember, this is still a Bitcoin-led market for a little while longer. For the most part, everything is following plan. So the true altcoin index is going to be total 3, which is all the altcoins excluding Bitcoin and Ethereum. And ultimately, what can you see over here? The accumulation schematic 2 continues to hold. This is what we're following. We're in this LPS phase over here, transitioning from phase D into potentially phase E at a later stage. And as long as we continue to consolidate between this phase C and phase D level, and we don't break down below 360 billion, then ultimately you can expect that the plan is still being followed to perfection. That consolidation builds a strong base on many of the altcoins, and ultimately it can be onwards and upwards later on into the year around that fourth quarter, which is pretty much also in line with what we see over here. Fourth quarter returns, if we go into the quarterly returns chart over here, you can see are mostly strongest in the first quarter and the fourth quarter. We already had a strong Q1. Now we're in Q3, which is on average 40.6% up. And then ultimately when we go into Q4, that's where you see the next major move. So that's something that we need to pay attention to and watch carefully over there. So stick around over here, continue to watch this, and we will keep you updated every step of the way. Before we continue, make sure you smash the like button, hit the bell notification, and make sure you are subscribed to the channel. We're looking for at least 1,000 likes before the end of the show, and then maybe we can do a giveaway. All right, let's have a look over here at the ETH-BTC chart. So again, just a reminder of where we are in the greater scheme of things. Here's your ETH-BTC chart. If I do zoom out, you can see very clearly, right? Range highs. You have the mid-range is the thick mid-level line here, and then you have your range lows, small deviation below, broke back in. Since then, we've been holding a downtrend. Zooming in, what is going on over here? Why are we looking at this, by the way? Well, this is obviously an indicator of what you can expect around altcoins as well, and it is rejecting from that trend line. It's rejecting from the longer-term trend line, and confirmation of this breakdown will be found when you start to hold below the 0.25 level of that range. As a ETH-BTC ratio, it's this number on the right-hand side in white, which is going to be 0.06243. If you see ETH-BTC hold and consolidate underneath that level, we're looking for the major breakdown, and that will lead to target 2, which has been the long-term target. I know it gets repetitive and boring, but This is trading, right? A big portion of your trading is waiting. So you create a plan and then you wait. And that's why I don't have exposure to any altcoins. I continue to just wait for this potential range low to be tagged or for a proper break of this downsloping trend line, and then we can start to allocate towards altcoins. Until one of those things happen, I'm pretty much sitting only in cash and Bitcoin. Okay, so if you look at the curve incident that's happened, it was speculated already yesterday. It's probably going to affect the rest of the DeFi ecosystem. And that's exactly what this tweet says over here. Affected by the curve incident, mainstream DeFi tokens all fell very sharply. Compound is currently at $61, which dropped 18.19%. CVX dropped by 13.92%, FXS dropped by 13%, and then 𝗏𝗏 dropped by 12.63%. So definitely a knock to the DeFi ecosystem over there. But could it be that it's an opportunity? Well, we'll need to look. It depends on what happens with our brother Mitch. Our brother Mitch of Curve. He's the founder of Curve, and he is defending a key level. If that key level gets taken, there could be mass liquidations, similar to many of the breakdowns that you guys have witnessed over the course of this bear market. When we watched Luna, we knew if it broke that level, it's going to absolutely nuke. When we looked at FTX or the FTT token, we knew if it broke a certain level, it was going to melt down ultimately to zero. This is a similar story over here. So Mitch, the founder, is now digging in couch cushions and selling Lido tokens from other accounts via 1inch to raise money in order to defend the level that he needs to defend. So it's $10,000 to $20,000 batches. Basically, they say, or Adam loves drama, though, by the way. So Adam loves drama. You have to know that about him. He's obviously way more on the ropes than people thought, but it is true. It is true. This was the short trade that we took. I believe that his liquidation level is somewhere around this 47 cents zone, which you can see that demand kicked in right at that zone. And our short trade over here is closed. I'm going to delete this now. We are over with this trade. It's absolutely finished. I think ultimately you need to treat support as support and resistance as resistance, and you need to buy support and sell resistance. This was resistance. That's why we sold it. We sold resistance over there. That's why we had the trade. The rejection off of the 200-day moving average. Beautiful picture perfect entry over there. Played out to perfection into where? The support. Here's support. Key level, right? Deviation. Deviation and demand. Don't be surprised if you see this run a turbo all the way back to the upside, where all the guys trying to short this get blown out of the water. And remind me when we go to the high block capital, I want to have a look at Curve's short liquidation levels if they are shorting. Will you remind me? Okay, good. Just checking that Josh is actually paying attention, because I see he's on his phone there. Hopefully he's trading though. It's forgivable if he's trading. Okay, let's continue on over here. Bitcoin came directly into the demand level that we had been eyeing out. I was doubtful whether we would get the sweep into the low liquidity or whether we were going to take the upside liquidity first. We have taken the lower end liquidity directly into the exact zone. We've mapped out this for, I think, much more than a week. It's probably been almost 2 weeks that we've been watching this level. I have now entered a long trade. I'll give you the setup. If you're in the Discord, you should already have the setup, because I dropped in there as soon as I took the trade. It's a lower risk to reward trade. It's about a 2-to-1, but fair enough. It's worth a play, worth a bounce. You have big demand kicking in over here. Strong wick came into the key levels and ultimately looking for a potential bounce. When we get back to the 50, once again, you need to pay attention. Do you remember yesterday we had a look at the 50 EMA, the red line over here, and we said it's governed the entirety of this downtrend. Once it was lost over here, we came back in. Rejection, and continues to reject that level. So the same will be true. Any longs that go from here are mean reversion plays, looking to play it back towards the 50, which is coming in around that $29,350 level. And then you need to be cautious of yet another rejection from that zone. So ultimately, for a continuation of an uptrend, if we want to call this all a fake out towards a downside and a bear trap, then we need to see price get back above these moving averages. We need the 50 to be reclaimed first, and then slowly but surely these can cross, right? Getting the 50 above the 200. When that cross happens, if you're a conservative trader and you're looking for safe entry, you'll probably wait for a pullback into that cross oftentimes it works like a magnet, right? You'll see price pull back into that level, and then you'll have additional confidence that that is holding a support, and then you can re-establish a long position, because right now risk continues to remain towards the downside. Okay, so I did take a trade over there. It is on the low time frame already, starting to break down this little trend line. Very low time frame over here. This is the 5-minute chart, but basically the trade idea was based off this. If you look at that massive wick, this is where price retraces 50% of the wick. It works similar to in stocks where they trade gaps, right? You can trade the wick, and you'll find a high amount of the time, then price will revert back and fill 50% of that wick. This is exactly where this level got in. Unfortunately, I only woke up when price was somewhere around here. Had I woken up and seen this happening, I would have taken it exactly off of that wick, and stop goes below the main wick over there. So I'm running about a 2 Bitcoin long over here, up only 1.5%, but we'll continue to hold this and see what happens over there. So there's the trade. That is it. We're playing liquidity to liquidity. You remember we had the little box over here. Let's just hide that. There we go, hide. There we go. This is the box on the hourly chart that we've been focused on for quite some time. So the yellow is the range high. We had the deviation above the range high. And then we had this level over here, rejecting. This buildup of liquidity is what made me doubtful that we were going to get another sweep down. But we said if we did, this would be the zone that it would ultimately come into. So let's quickly unhide that. Let's get that back. Okay, there we go. That is the trade setup, right? Stop would go below, pretty much entered around here. I will start to manage it and tighten it throughout the day. I'll update you in Discord with regards to what I do. But the play is to target the top side liquidity, which is a push back into the 50 to 200 EMA on the 4-hour time frame, and happens to capture the liquidity which is built up over here based on the short sellers. These guys who were shorting over here were lucky not to get taken out first, and they'll be looking to take profit on this move. Remember, they're also watching this wick over here, expecting that price is going to start to move over here, and consequently their psychology will start to shift into profit taking, looking for to grab some of those profits, which consequently push price higher, and then it becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. So that's what we're watching over there. Let's quickly go into high block capital. You can see over here, if you do look at the liquidation delta on the short side, you're now looking at about 4.8 billion. It may continue to remain within this level for quite some time, but ultimately it's telling you to already start to position towards the other side and target that upside liquidity, which is exactly what I just showed you. Okay, Josh, you do not need to remind me because I already remember. Let's go to curve. Here we go. I want to see what's going on with curve. Okay, before we move on, let's let that load up. While that's loading, I guess, let me go over here onto this chart. This is a trading light. So looking at trading light and the order levels over here, there were some big orders which were taken. 300 plus Bitcoin was grabbed over here as liquidity. And then we had the next level of liquidity, which were 100 in the region of 100 to 150 Bitcoin orders. The wick came into that area, pushed up. Remember, we filled 50% over here, and consequently price has been moving up. Now, the reason why I want to share this with you is I'm on the 15-minute chart. If these levels start to get lost around this wick, there is next support which is coming in at 28,500. Now, that was one of my main targets for the entirety of last week, but this wick may mean that price is already front running, that bulls are front running that level. If price does come down into the zone over here, expect a bounce. In the same way that you got this bounce over here, expect a similar bounce. If that level gets lost, we need to look to the next zone, which is coming down around 27,800. So level to level, right? This is low time frame stuff. First, we're looking at 28.5. If this zone gets lost and the wick doesn't hold, expect a bounce from there. Then next zone over there is going to be 27,800, and that's what we're working with for today. Let's leave it at that for today. Tomorrow, I'll update you depending on what happens over here. You can see already the buildup of liquidity starting to take place on the top side at 29.5. These are new orders which are starting to come into the market. These are guys just like me, right? I've just taken the order over here. And pretty much I'm looking to short sell. I'm looking to sell into 29.5, and already we have our first over 300 Bitcoin orders, sell orders, which are coming into play at that level. So keep a close eye on that level. Now let's look at curve. Let's see, it should have loaded by now. So there you go. See that, guys? What does that mean? That is huge. Okay, for an altcoin like that, I mean, you have $500 million worth of liquidity over there. It doesn't take that much to move these altcoins, which means you're coming into the range low, as I've just shown you, key support level on curve. And most people are calling doom, looking for a major breakdown. And if that doesn't happen, then all of these guys are going to get squeezed out, and it's going to push curve all the way back towards the 200-day moving average, which is quite an astronomical move. As a percentage, what would that be looking like? Well, from here to here, you're looking at about an 80% move, right? Let's not say 80%, because let's say it's going to probably reject again from the 200. Then you'd be looking at about 60%. Either way, big bounce levels. If you want to play it very safe, it's very simple. All you need to do is take a small spot position. You don't even need leverage on something like this. And then you can just kind of let the shorts get squeezed and grab some profits on the upside. Okay, the NFT God has some leaked documents. The moment you've all been waiting for. The leaked documents are here. Okay, it is basically what they're showing on the new dev version for Twitter X. Digital currencies and collectibles are coming way sooner than you may think. You can see over there, they already have it. It's got coins. Coins have been listed over there. There was, of course, the nature of crypto. You know how it is, the degen-ness of this space. As soon as this came out, I mean, it didn't even get that many interactions. 651,000. They came out with XCoin straight away. XCoin came out. XCoin's done 100x. Same thing as I told you as Boldcoin. Do not risk real trade money on that. Those are complete gambles. Be very careful if you are somebody that's speculating on things like this. XCoin is now out. I'm not even going to pull up the chart, but it did do 100x pretty much as soon as this tweet came out. You're welcome to go through this tweet. Just go look him up over here. You can see 420, you got 69, Elon's favorite numbers. But ultimately, what does this mean for you? What does it mean for you? So give it to me simple, sir. Give it to me simple. What should I start doing now? 1, network like crazy, reply and DM people to build relationships. Don't spam them, because basically this is essentially a platform that they're building where you can reward content creators. So if you're a content creator, you can earn money, but I would assume this money would have some form of value and currency. Number 2, create content that gives value, not engagement farms. Don't clickbait people. Don't clickbait people. We've been told that as well. Be a human being. People buy from humans, not brands, and don't be boring. Don't be boring. So those are basically the things you need to do. Go through and look at that. It is coming soon. It's already in the devs versions that they've been developing. So expect that something like that will come out. Okay, in a quick twist of events over here, this guy turned. Remember yesterday, it was literally 4 million% gains for the Ball token within 24 hours. This guy went from $3 million to $2,000 in 24 hours. How did he do it? I'm sure a lot of you have experience in this. He was buying Bald with multiples of 100 ETH transactions, 100 ETH per transaction, until he spent 1,000 ETH in total. And then basically he got absolutely rugged. Now there's a lot of speculation around this rug. Look at that. Massive. In all fairness, when I did tell you it's a gamble, it still went up another 80% from there. So don't hate the player, hate the game, as they say. But what happened over here? Why has the Bald dev interacted with Alameda so much 2 years ago? And they were one of the first votes on every sushi proposal. A little bit of conspiracy over here. So what is it? To summarize, I'm just going to give you the lowdown. There is speculation that Sam Bankman-Fried could be involved in this. Thousands of ETH between FTX and Bald basically were transacted. 𝗫𝗄𝗎 was the first vote on all sushi proposals. 𝗫𝗄𝗎 tweets the same sentence structure as SBF tweets. 𝗫𝗄𝗎 was the biggest DYDX farmer. 𝗫𝗄𝗎 DYDX posts sound just like SBF. They speculate that maybe he was the one that rugged. You're welcome to go through this tweet thread over here. Watch Rand's show later. I have no doubt that he's going to go in depth into this. I'm always the first show of the morning, so it's very hard to gather all of the golden nuggets and research, but I can give you the tidbits and say that I'm sure he'll dive deep into the story. There is speculation that SBF was the one that rugged. I'm sure we'll hear more about that at a later stage. Almost done. 𝗪𝗏𝗡. 𝗪𝗏𝗡 is a cryptocurrency digital asset exchange whereby you can basically swap fiat and crypto. So no intermediaries, fiat and crypto. Check them out. They are one of the latest and newest sponsors that we have. There is a link in the description below. Just click on this over here. There we go. Go through to the link below. How many likes do we have? 522. So we can't do a giveaway. There we go. 523. I liked it. And you can have a look over here below. So decentralized global bank. If you are looking for cross-chain lending, borrowing, staking, check them out. They are pretty good. And then we do also have Bybit. Of course, we have the World Series of Trading. Make sure that you registered and signed up if you are not already signed up. And we will be giving away iPhones, but there weren't enough likes today, so I can't give away an iPhone today. Maybe I can do one tomorrow. Otherwise, that's it from me, folks. I will see you all on the next video tomorrow. Trade safely out there. Make sure you're in the Discord. I'll update you on the trade idea that we have, and have an absolutely stellar day, and cheers for now.